Yo, what's going on, guys? We're back with another video, and today we are going to do a little bit of Regulation H team building, and we're going to kick things off with Archaludon Rain here. So this is one of the premier archetypes that you can use in this format. They complement each other relatively well, and they can be slapped onto a lot of different teams with just these two as a whole, but you can actually just literally build around these two technically, right? So I'm going to show you a couple of builds, right? And you're going to, test them out, especially if you're a newer player. These are going to be very useful for you. So this way, we're going to do much of the heavy lifting for you guys. And from here, what you can do is adjust and change things as you go, right? I'm just going to give you starting builds, as I always like to do. And then from there, you can make changes depending on your ladder and tournament experiences here, right? But everything I'm going to show you has been proven, has been tested, and can win you a tournament already. I'm just going to make the job easier for you by providing you with said team to practice with. All right, so how are we going to do this? So basically, we're going to go with the classic build here, all right? At least for the first variation. And this build was one of the first teams to debut, more or less, at the first turnaround of Regulation H. Or I should say go around, but it still stayed dominant even up until the last day of the format, right? Which goes to show you that it's very balanced and it has a lot of tools for what you're supposed to expect in Reg H. So what is that core? So it looks like this. You have Archaludon and Pelipper here. That's your rain engine. That's the core that you're going to build around with. Then we add the Incineroar and Amoonguss for your classic defensive backbone here. You got Intimidate, you got Fake Out, you got Redirection. Your Pelipper is going to have access to Tailwind here. So now you also have speed control on your team. So you got the support, right? And you've got some offense here with the Archaludon. You got the speed control, which it very much appreciates, right? Because 85 is not that fast. It's not that slow either, but with Tailwind, you can outspeed everything you want. Outspeed like a +1 Dragonite after Scale Shot, or even Dragapult as a whole here. The Amoonguss just gives you something to play within the Trick Room matchup. It gives you space to create redirection support to even set up said Tailwind, as well as other setup Pokemon that we're going to add into this team in a second. But usually these teams also have Basculegion here, and this is going to be the physical presence of the team. Obviously with Basculegion, Swift Swim is really, really good. Again, you're going to double your speed and you're going to put out a ton of offense, especially when you have something like a Choice Band here. Now, I will say, as the format progressed in Regulation H, you started to see these Focus Sash variants with Basculegion, and then they were just straight 252, 252 Adamant Nature on these Basculegions, right? So if you want to go that direction, you can, and then you can just go like, Goggles or Covert Cloak on the Pelipper here, and then technically you can go Berry or Goggles or Rocky Helmet on the Incineroar, depending on how you want to see fit. Right, so if you're more inclined to play the Basculegion that way, go for it. Otherwise, we're going to go with the Choice Band idea, just for a little bit more damage here. All right, and then after this, you still need a little bit more special attack damage, right? Because this is like something that can ramp up later. You do have the Electroshot on your side, which is great, but you need at least 1 or 2 of these before you can really, really start putting on pressure. But if you want immediate damage, what you can do is actually just add Gholdengo onto this team here. And Gholdengo is very solid against stuff like Sneasler, because, again, with the Archaludon and Incineroar both weak to close combat from a Sneasler, it's good to have a Ghost Step on the team. You do have the Basculegion, of course, but Gholdengo is just really, really good, right? With good its gold, you don't really care about Dire Claw stuff, and then they can't really close combat you because you are a Ghost type. So Gholdengo very strong in Regulation H. And then if we slap on the Life Orb on this, now we don't necessarily have to always rely on Nasty Plot. Right, we can and we will use Nasty Plot on this team, but with the Life Orb, we can put out immediate damage without necessarily needing time to set up here. But you can definitely do it because you can easily lead like Incin, Gholdengo, click Fake Out Nasty Plot, Protect, Pivot Out, go into Pelipper, click your Tailwind, and then click make it rain if you want to. You can always do like Amoonguss, Gholdengo, and Redirect, and also set up Nasty Plot that way. So you have Pokemon that can help you set up said Nasty Plot here, right? So you've got setup here, you've got speed control here, you've got damage mitigation here, you've got status and redirection support from the Amoonguss, Fake Out pressure, of course, from the Incin, right? And you've got a little bit of speed control from the Pelipper at the same time here. All right, so this team, like I said, is relatively balanced, right? You have multiple options for multiple different scenarios. You got your classic Fire, Water, Grass core here with Incin, Amoonguss, and said water type, right? Either the Basculegion or the Pelipper here. So you've got a lot going for you. And this is one of the main reasons why this 6 has been good even since day 1 of the format here. So let's just round it out here. But let's slap on the Assault Vest here, right, with the Archaludon. It's going to be super, super bulky, right? You've already got great defense. Okay, now you're just adding the Assault Vest for a little bit more special defense. Then we'll just add, you know, stuff like the Dragon Stab, either Dragon Pulse or Draco Meteor. Up to you, to each their own. It really just depends. Obviously, the pros and cons to both. Dragon Pulse can't miss. And then, of course, you know, the con is you do less damage, right? Draco Meteor more damage, but you have the chance to miss. So it's up to you. But sometimes Dragon Pulse does miss out on KOs because of that lesser damage. So if that is something that bothers you, go for it. Otherwise, if you prefer to have a peace of mind for accuracy, then you can just keep it as Dragon Pulse here. Body Press, of course, is going to be really, really strong, especially when you take damage, right? You're going to get these defense boosts from stamina and then have these harder hitting body presses. I will say you do have the option to go for Terra Fighting on these and then go for Bold Nature, which we will do in another variant of the team. But for this type of Archaludon team, we're going to keep it modest and we're going to go with a different Terra here. I like Bug. I like Grass. I think both are very, very good. You're able to resist fighting damage here with the Bug Terra. Obviously, Grass helps you get around Amoonguss, you know, in terms of that. And it also helps you resist the ground weakness, which, you know, is also annoying because, again, you are a Steel type. But Bug is very, very solid at the same time as well. And then this last move here, of course, your other special attack stab move in Flash Cannon. Pretty standard there. Pelipper, same thing. We'll put the sash on this guy, right? So like I said, if you don't want the sash on the Pelipper, if you prefer it on the Basculegion, you can definitely do that to each their own. Weather Ball, of course, going to do big damage in the rain. Hurricane, your flying stab. And then this last one, I like Protect here. And I still like Terra Ground here, you know, just because sometimes other Archaludons like to go for their electric move into the Pelipper. You're 4 times weak. Ground Terra, that gets whiffed, and you can surprise him if you do go for it. The Incin here, this is the one that I do like to keep safety goggles with. Just helps me get around Amoonguss. I do like those Terra. Usually on the Incins helps against the fighting weakness, right? Body Press, Close Combat, of course. Fake Out, Parting Shot, Knock Off, and I like Taunt. Okay, if you like other moves like Will-O-Wisp, right, you can definitely do that. Otherwise, if you like Flare Blitz, you can definitely do that. Sometimes Flare Blitz is a little bit iffy in the rain, but if you like it, you can definitely do it. But I still like Taunt on my Incins, you know, if I have to use it to deny certain Trick Room ideas. The Amoonguss, again, Regenerator, of course. I like Covert Cloak Amoonguss, right? This is just some way a really, really solid way to get around the Fake Out stuff. But if you like to put the Covert Cloak on the Pelipper and the Sash on the Basculegion and slap on another item instead, like Berry or Goggles, you know, with Incin and whatnot, then you can definitely do that, all right? Mix and match depending on what you want to do. With this, Wave Crash, Last Respects. Again, Basculegion is an excellent late game cleaner, especially when everything is gone on the field. In the end game, Last Respects just does even more damage. You've got Priority Aqua Jet, and you also have a pivot move and Flip Turn, right? So look at the pivot action you got. You got Parting Shot, and you got Flip Turn here. So you can always just switch out Amoonguss and do stuff, right? So imagine like Basculegion Amoonguss, you could Flip Turn, or you can hard switch the Amoonguss, flip turn on Basculegion, then bring Basculegion back on the other slot, you know, at the end of the turn there, right? So it's really, really solid. Then, of course, Gholdengo, your 2-stat moves, Make It Rain, and Shadow Ball, of course, right? Now, in terms of Terras here, so Amoonguss, I like Water, you know, just a little bit more resistance against Ice and Fire. Basculegion, also, you can keep it as Water. You can also change to Grass if you want to get around Amoonguss and Rillaboom. And as well as, you know, electric weaknesses, like another Electroshot, you can definitely go Grass Terra on this if you so choose. Otherwise, more damage from Terra Water is going to be quite useful. I'll keep it Grass for now, but I leave it up to you guys if you need a little bit more damage. Gholdengo here is also relatively solid. I still like Terra Water on Gholdengo here for the same reasons I said before here. So this is it. Oh, the Amoonguss, of course, Rage Powder, Pollen Puff, I'm sorry, Spore, Pollen Puff, right, and then just Protector. Now, if the Dondozo matchup is too much, this is where you're going to start having to, you know, do Clear Smog, just to be able to wipe those buffs away. So if you find your Dozo matchup a little bit iffy, then you can definitely go for the Clear Smog on this. Otherwise, you can definitely pressure the Dozo anyway with stuff like Gholdengo and Archaludon here. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents on that. But yeah, now in terms of EV spreads, so let's start back here at the beginning with the Arc. All right, so with the Archaludon, what I want to do, I have a few options, and I also have to start thinking about speed tiers. So when I do my speed tiers, obviously, if you remember our speed tier video, you can go to 107 here, and under Tailwind, this is enough to outspeed Dragapult, right? And you can settle for that. Chances are some Archaludons are also going to do that too. Otherwise, you can definitely do something like this, where 109 is going to be quite useful. So that'll get you to 218. That's going to outspeed +1 Dragonites after a Scale Shot, right? The Jolly variant. So you can definitely do something like that if you want. But you can just still speed creep anyway and just go 36, right? And then this is already like relatively solid. So I like this idea. So I'm going to keep Archaludon at this speed tier for that reason. I can outspeed not only the Dragapults, but also the +1 D-Knights after Scale Shot. So I like that. Then I'm going to go into my modest nature here. I'm going to go to the second benchmark here, right? Here's the first one, 165, right? The bump went up by 2 points instead of 1. Then it's every 80 EVs for each bump here. So I'm going to go to 176 right there, okay? That is the second bump. So now, again, I always bring this up in our team building videos. But if you don't know what EV bumps are, if you're trying to understand what they are, and if you're trying to get better at creating EV spreads for Pokemon, right, that are just not, or just a little bit more involved than 252 sets, make sure you comment below asking what are EV bumps. I will reply to you and I will respond to you. We have a whole video on this where we explain what EV bumps are and we go through a few examples step by step. Also linked in the video description below, so feel free to click that. But otherwise, if you want something that's quick and easy, just ask what are EV bumps in the comment section and I will reply to you. All right, but this is the second bump here. Now I've got 356 EVs left to play with. What do I want to do? Let me pick a damage calc. I can go two ways with this. I can survive Blood Moon Earth Power, or I can survive Close Combat Sneasler. I'm going to pick Sneasler because that is way more common than the Blood Moon. Not saying that that one isn't. That's within the top 8. But I like the Pokemon that's within the top 4 to be able to EV that for, right? The meta-defining Pokemon. All right, so how do I do that? I'm going to go to 212. Okay, that's going to get me to 192 HP. Why? Because in case Rillaboom comes into the games, I can optimize my HP for grassy terrain, and then I just need 140 investment with 1 point here remaining in special defense. This is going to help me survive against the adamant close combat from the Sneasler. You can check the damage calc if you want. This is all I need, and this last point is just going to go into special defense. It's a nice solid even number, which is good because with the AV, you're multiplying your SPDF by 1.5, which means if I have an odd number like this, let me just quickly demonstrate that. If you have an odd number like this, then it's going to be a decimal, and then it's going to round down after you multiply by 1.5. To avoid that, let's keep it at an even number here to start. Let's keep it at 86 instead of 87. So this way, after you multiply by 1.5, it's a nice solid whole number, and you get the best bang for your buck for your Assault Vest. All right, that's it. That's my Archaludon EV spread to start out with. I outspeed what I want to outspeed. I outspeed the +1 D-Knight. I outspeed the Dragapult. I have enough defensive bulk to survive the close combat Sneasler, and I still hit the second benchmark in my Modest Nature. That's it. That's all I want my Archaludon to do. Very easy, very straightforward there. All right. Pelipper here, we'll keep this one even easier. This is a Sashmon. Let's just go Modest 252 set. That's all I really need. And you know, like I said earlier in our tier list video, not tier list, our speed tier video, 117, right, is the Modest. So 118 will outspeed it. So just be mindful of your speed interactions, like I always like to tell people. Instant here, so you know, I do like Careful Nature because I've already got the physical damage mitigation from Intimidate. Let me add a little bit more EVs into my special defense so the instant can stay around and be annoying and keep clicking parting shots. So I think Weather Ball Pelipper is a calc worth going for. I think Timid Weather Ball is something that I want to do. So I'm going to need this much investment, 244 here and 196 investment here. Now, this is not hitting any bump, right? But if you would need to achieve a certain damage calc, the bump rule just goes out the window. Get the damage calc you need. That's going to override priority over like your benchmarks, right? You start out with your benchmarks like this, right? Let's say like right here, this is the bump, right? So, but you still die to the Weather Ball. So then this is where you say, all right, you know what? Let me take away that percentage and let me guarantee the survival. Now you go to 196. So it's not a bump anymore. It's just more EV investment to guarantee your survival. All right. It's going to override what you start with in the beginning. All right. After this, 36 EVs is all I need in speed. So 85 under tailwind, that'll get me to 170. That's going to outspeed base 100s. It's also going to outspeed stuff like Chomp, which is what I want. And then the 28 EVs in defense is all I really need. After a -1, the Sneasler close combat can no longer KO. So I'm totally fine with the minuscule amount of defensive investment that I have in Instant. I've got Intimidate support anyway. Mungus, you can keep this one standard. I just like to go Relax Nature, right? 0 IV speed here, and then optimize the HP a little bit. Let's go to 219. This way it's perfect HP recovery, you know, with Regenerator, right? It's perfect 73. Then let's hit the benchmark here with 156. All right, and then the rest can just go into Spadef. Very simple Among Us spread. Basculegion. Okay, so Basculegion, you could just do this, right? And there's nothing wrong with just straight up 252, 252 with the band. That is totally fine. If you like it, go for it. Otherwise, if you want something a little bit more involved, this is what I suggest. You can drop all this speed here to about 132, right? This is enough to outspeed the max speed Timid Blood Moon, okay? Which there are around. So you can definitely just go like this. And then I like to at least calc for Rillaboom Grassy Glide without having to burn my Terra. And this is all I need for that. 100 investment and 20 defense, right? Now, why specifically do I start with 100? I'm going for factors of 16, you know, under Grassy Terrain. If they're going to bring the Rillaboom into my matchup, Rillaboom's going to introduce Grassy Terrain. I want to optimize my HP where I can get perfect recovery from that Grassy Terrain. That's why I did 192 with Archaludon. So now add the next factor of 16. What's 192 plus 16? That is 208. That's exactly what I've got here with the Basculegion. Perfect 13 and 12 HP recovery per turn between the Basculegion and Archaludon under Grassy Terrain, right? And then the 20 defense just helps me guarantee. Now, this is not max attack Rillaboom. They are usually never max attack. They'll either go Adamant 116 or Adamant 196 or even Adamant 36, right? Or some other damage calc in between. Very rarely will they go 252 Adamant. If they are, I need to know your name and comment below. And I'm going to ask you, why are you running max attack Adamant Rillaboom? I'm just kidding. There's actually nothing wrong with running max attack Adamant Rillaboom. You get more value out of your Grassy Glide if you want to consider it like that. But anyway, I'm going to go with the common spreads that I'm calcing against. All right. So at the very least, Adamant 196 is good enough for me. I will survive it without having to Terra, which is great. Then I can go for certain moves like Last Respects, maybe a Wave Crash if I want to. But yeah, Gholdengo here. All right, so there's two options that you can do with Gholdengo. You could be slow and bulky, or you can be super fast, right? So if you want to be slow and bulky, this is all you need. You outspeed Dragapult here, go to 107, max your attack investment, all right? And then from here, let's add as much HP as I can, ending in a 9, right, to optimize the Life Orb chip. And then these last 24 points, they can go here into your defense and your special defense. So if you like this, you can definitely use this modest set if you like, right? It's a very slow Gholdengo, but you do have the Tailwind support, but that means you're going to be relying on Tailwind support too. Otherwise, if you're very afraid of the mirror and you want that information in game 1, then here's what I suggest. Let's make your life easier. Let's just go Timid max speed right off the rip. Okay, this way you'll know if you outspeed them, it could be a speed time, but at the very least, you can at least know maybe it is a speed time, but at least you are faster. And there is that not as much of a big fear, right? As opposed to like the slower modest variants. So start off timid first. Let's see how you like it. Then if you want more damage, then you can definitely go like a modest route. Otherwise, I'll just go right up to here. 169 just for a little bit of optimal chip and then just dumping the rest into special attack. Let's actually just put out one more EV here. All right, and this is all you need, right? 178 is still like very, very strong, especially with a Life Orb here. It's good enough. All right, you've got Nasty Plot here, right? And you have other cleaners on your side here. So this is it. This is like the classic Arc Rain to start with here, right? So Arc Pelipper, Incineroar, Basculegion, Gholdengo. You've got a lot of tools at your disposal here. Like I said earlier, got that speed control, you've got status, you got damage mitigation, you got redirection support, you got fake out pressure, you've got setup, you've got weather control. Okay, so a lot of things going on for you with this standard build here, so feel free to try it out. Otherwise, I'm going to show you a couple test games where we actually use the Team 2. All right, so this guy is running very classic Garchomp, Gholdengo, Talonflame core, and then after that, he's just got a bunch of other pieces for specific needs. Very physical, right? Only Gholdengo is like the lone special attacker here. So honestly, I have a pretty aggressive mode here. I do like Incin in these specific matchups. I can pressure Gholdengo. I can intimidate the Sneasler. I can intimidate the Garchomp. One of the, it might be Clear Amulet, obviously, but I don't want to give Defiant to Gambit. But it's okay because I have enough to pressure the Gambit, right? And that's fine. So I'm still going to lead Incin regardless. And I still want to pressure whatever he has with the lead with Incineroar, especially when I can damage and pivot out. So, Talonflame Gholdengo comes out here. He does have Protect on the Talonflame. Very rare to see that. Usually they run 4 moves there, but he gets me here because he clicks Thunderbolt on Gholdengo. And I can click Knockoff. It was Specs, right? So there goes that big amount of damage. Archaludon comes in. Now, he does click Tailwind, and he does click Trick, right? So that's fine. He removes my AV. I was going for Electroshot anyway. I wanted to see if he really had it, but he did. So obviously this Electroshot isn't going to do anything because I didn't pivot out Pelipper here. It's fine. I go into Pelipper now. I want to save the Incin for later, right? Because I figured he might go for that 1,000 Arrows idea. And I know Arc can definitely take that here. So he did go for it, but he didn't even go into the Arc. He went into the Pelipper here. And now we just removed the Talonflame here. So easy removal. Right, and now we're in the driver's seat because we removed 2 Mons, and now he's just stuck with the Gambit here. So now I can just Terra Bug here, but he still ignores the Arc and just goes for the Pelipper, right? He doesn't want to keep giving me all these defense boosts. I understand that, but now I'm just running away with the game, right? So now it's just Incin here. I can fake out Electroshot again if I have to, which I will, right? He clicks Protect, doesn't get him anywhere. In fact, that makes it worse because that was his last turn of Tailwind technically, but at this point, he's too far behind. The Decidueye can't carry him. I'm +2 now. He goes for Brave Bird. Even a crit doesn't save him there. And now we just simply blast him with the +2 Dragon Pulse. And that's pretty much it. All right, here's another Garchomp Gholdengo team. This one, it does have a Hydreigon, but it also has Whimsicott here. So, and there is the annoying Annihilape, but there is no Maushold here. But instead, it's a Clefable. So it's another pretty decent team. Whimsicott Hydreigon is the lead here, right? So I'm going to go Gholdengo and I'm going to go Amoonguss. So ideally what I want to do is just Protect and click Spore here. I don't want to take Snarls and whatnot. I just want to put the Hydreigon to sleep. But it's actually Sunny Day Whimsicott with Terrify Hydreigon Heat Wave, right? So there goes Amoonguss. So once again, turn 1, I lose a Mon because it's best of 1. Basculegion comes in here. So I'm just going to go into Pelipper. Probably try against the Basculegion. He can't click Tailwind and Sunny Day at the same time, right? He can only click 1 here. So I force him to go for the Tailwind idea, which means no Sunny Day, which means Pelipper gets to have the weather control, and that means you lose the Hydreigon there. I felt like the other way would have been better for him, but now he has this. I'm going to go into Gholdengo now. I'm going to risk taking that, you know, the Ghost move from the Annihilape there. But to risk, I'm going to have to take a click Tailwind Pelipper. He lets me get away with it, and I go Terra Water Gholdengo just because, and now he goes for the Bulk Up, but that's fine. I'm going to go for the Weather Ball here on the Pelipper, which again super effective against his Whimsicott because it's a fire move now, and I just go Nasty Plot here, right? So very simple. He clicks Protect Ape. I'm going to click Pelipper here. I did go for the Make It Rain here, right? Which is unfortunate because I'm only going to pick up a 1 HP Whimsicott, so I'm back to mine +1. But the Annihilape again is trapped now against the Gholdengo here, and I have speed control. So that means with my last turn of Tailwind, I'm going to pivot out, all right, just to save the Basculegion for later. Remove the Clefable, right? Annihilape is still strong here now with the Rage Fist. It's okay, but Drain Punch, that's just not enough, even after +1 here. So now we just clean up, and we just pivot out the Pelipper, and we clean it with Basculegion, and, you know, we have the speed advantage, and then there goes the Annihilape. Another variation of the Arc Rain idea also uses another engine on the team, and that's going to be the Sinistcha and Ursaluna Trick Room mode onto this. Now, Sinistcha is the perfect partner, I would say, for like Archaludon and both Ursaluna at the same time. Why do I say that? So you do get access to Trick Room. Obviously, that's going to help you with your Ursaluna. That's also pretty good for Arc as well because it's not that fast either. It's not that slow. So it's going to benefit both in Tailwind and Trick Room, right? So you have that going for you. And then at the same time, you've got Matcha Gotcha for healing, right? You know, for yourself. And then you have redirection support with Rage Powder, which is the most important thing to be able to support both of these there, right? And then, of course, like I said, you do have healing also for your partners with Life 2 here. Now, think about the weaknesses to Archaludon. You're weak to fighting, you're weak to ground, right? And at the same time, look what Sinistcha is in terms of typing, right? Grass and Ghost. So Grass, you get to resist and redirect the ground coverage, which is great. And then at the same time, Ghost, you get to redirect the fighting move away from Arc, and it gets whiffed, right? Because you are a Ghost type. Then you look at Ursaluna, weak to grass, weak to water, and weak to fighting too, right? Because you do have that normal typing. Well, like we said earlier, redirect the fighting move, it gets whiffed, you're a ghost type, and you resist both grass and water coverage because you are a grass type. So it's a great partner with Ursaluna. You got the Trick Room mode here. It's a great partner with Archaludon for the healing capabilities, right? Because after this takes some damage, you know, to try and get its stamina boost rolling, you need to heal it with the Sinistcha Hospitality / Life Dew. Same thing with Ursaluna. You're taking chip damage over time with Guts from that Flame Orb. So it's going to need some healing, and that's where Sinistcha can really come into play here, right? And of course, you threaten Trick Room, and once you get Trick Room set up for Ursaluna, you're poised to sweep. So from here, where do you want to go? You can definitely add Dragonite to a core like this. So this is almost like the double dragon idea where you can threaten your own Scale Shot, which is really, really nice. Now you add Tailwind support to the team, right? Along with Pelipper. So you have two types of Tailwind that you can do. And you still have Haze, where you need this against, you know, potential Dondoza matchups. This is, in my opinion, one of the better cores to use with Arc Rain. The other one is still like very, very strong too. It's still one of the best. But I also like this core of Sinistcha, Ursaluna, and Dragonite here. This will be your loaded dice set, of course. Right, and then after this, you still want Gholdengo. Like, Gholdengo's still, like, really, really good. You still want good special attack damaging presence here with the Gholdengo. This is a build that was also going around towards the middle part of Regulation H, the Erizabeth build, right, more or less. I don't even know if it actually started with them. I think it started elsewhere, so don't quote me on that. But I just know that this 6 has made its way around, okay? And we're going to recreate that with our stuff, of course. But we're gonna give you some differences in terms of the sets here. So Arc, we're still gonna go with the Assault Vest, right? But this time around, we're going to go Terra Fighting here. That's Flying, sorry. Fighting, okay? Flash Cannon, Body Press, okay? Electroshot, but dig this. It's gonna have Snarl. It's also gonna be supportive here, right? So we can also use this for damage mitigation purposes at the same time here. So you're going to have physical damage reduction with Stamina, and then at the same time, you've got Snarl for more special attack damage reduction too. And then you've got healing with Sinistcha. So it's going to be very, very hard to remove the Arc in all cases. And then what we do is we actually go, not Modest, but we're going to go Bold Nature, which is very good for more body press damage and better resistance to the close combats and other physical moves in general. Like even Ursaluna Earthquake, something like that too, will be able to resist all of that as well. Well, not resist, but be able to survive it. So I do like this bold variant, and we'll go with the EV spreads in a second, but I just wanted to tell you that we're going to go with the bold idea. This, obviously, with Pelipper, we're going to keep this the same. We're still going to go with the Sash here. All right, we're still going to go, whatchamacallit, Hurricane, Tailwind support. We can go something like Muddy Water here, right? We can go Weather Ball. I'm just trying to give you like other move alternatives here. And what's also really good is Wide Guard support. So you can also use this against like Size Spam stuff, right? Because you don't have the instant anymore. So you don't really have like a dark pivot. So Wide Guard's going to help against like Expanding Force shenanigans, as well as Earthquake stuff. So like if you fear Earthquake from your Arc and your Gholdengo, you can definitely click Wide Guard and you're totally fine. Same thing with like Heat Wave stuff. Let's say Rain is away and they click Sunny Day, they're going to click Heat Wave. You could click Wide Guard and you're totally fine. I'm going to go Ghost here, right? So because now we are prone to fake out, but we can go with a Timely Terra Ghost and avoid it. Sinistcha, let's just go Berry. We can use Berries again. Not that we couldn't use it before, but the Calyrex has made it a little bit harder with their ability. And I'm just going to go Terra Dark here. All right, neutralize the Ghost weakness. And then, of course, I can't get daunted by priority. Ursaluna, very standard here. But let's go Ghost as well. Let's just go Facade, the standard. Facade, Headlong Rush, the Earthquake, of course, and just straight up Protect here. D-Knight, we have already said. Let's go Terra Fairy, so this way we can whiff around other scale shots from another D-Knight. And then Gholdengo here, we can keep it Terra Water. We can also go Terra Flying if you want to have some synergy with Earthquake. I think Terra Water is still like very, very good. But let's go Choice Scarf instead. So now what we can do is just, instead of going Timid, now we can go Modest. All right, and now we should be okay in terms of what we want to do with our damage, right? So we get a little bit more value, right? So 203 now is our attack stat, right? So Make It Rain, Shadow Ball, Terra Blast, Terra Water is going to be really good against Incineroar, of course. And then we can also threaten Trick, like you saw in the previous game that we were using. So Trick is also going to be quite useful to, like, Choice Scarf Trick, very timely against one Pokemon, make them useless, especially if they went for like a setup move or if they went for like Protect and whatnot. You can lock them in, and then they'll be forced to switch out potentially, right? And be out of position. All right, so where do I go here? So the easy one, right? We've already done the Gholdengo here. We're gonna do Pelipper now. Same thing. Obviously, I still like Modest Pelipper, man. I think it's still like very, very good for what we wanted to do. Then the Dragonite here. So honestly, like I just want to go max speed D-Knight, you know, especially when I'm first retesting my regulationH waters, right? Let's just go max Adamant 252. And then let's just go up to the bump here, right there, 204. That's all I need. And then just 1 point in the bulk stats here, and then just put the rest into HP here. That's it. That's all I need. All right. It's a very easy starting point for Dragonite. Ursaluna. So I'm gonna go to 140 HP again. This is almost like the Rillaboom number, but -1, 69 -1, just to re-optimize the damage you're gonna take from the Flame Orb. You're gonna take 1 less damage, right? This is why we do this. So it's just the opposite for like leftovers in grassy terrain. Undercut it by 1. I'm gonna go Brave. You can. Oh, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go Adamant here, right? We're gonna go Adamant. But look at the speed investment we're gonna go for, right here, 196. Okay. Did you watch our speed tier video? Why am I going for 95? Pause the video. Pause the video right now and tell me why I'm going for 95. See, what does this do? Okay, now you can unpause the video. If you said under Tailwind this outspeeds Sneasler, you are correct. Very, very good. That's exactly what we're doing. So this way we can still play under Trick Room. Like you can still, like 95 is not fast. Okay, you can definitely thrive under Trick Room with this. So, but under Tailwind, it's also going to be pretty good at outspeeding Sneasler. So after that, just dump the rest here into attack. Perfect 200. Very, very good. That's all I need. And then Sinistcha, you can go Calm Nature here. And honestly, you can also EV for, you know, King Gambit stuff. But I think to start with, Calm is okay. Let's go to 176 for Berry Recovery. Let's go to right here, you know, just to the bump here. Calm 156. That's all I need. And after this, we can put 1 point in special attack. We don't really need damage out of the Sinistcha. We can go Modest if you want later, but I think this is all I really need. Let's go a little bit more. Let's go 1 point faster than our Ursaluna. Yo, Tailwind Sinistcha. That's going to be crazy. Dump the rest here into defense, and that's all I need. So almost equal investment, or almost equal stats for my defense and my Spadef there, and that's really all I want. All right, so back to Arc here. Let's go Bull Nature. Let's keep it at 212 like we did earlier with the Rillaboom number. Let's go with the first benchmark. Let's go right there. That's all I need. I still want to reinvest some of this bulk into my Spadef department. So let's make this a little bit slower. Let's go to 108. So at least under 10, we still outspeed Pult. Then let's go. We only need this. I just want to be like super bulky with this kind of set. Let's go right there. This will actually give you a guarantee against the Timid, Life Orb, Blood Moon, Earth Power, and you have a very strong roll against the Modest Earth Power as well. So I like this. This is a very bulky Archaludon set. Not going to do as much damage as you would think, but you might do more if you're clicking Body Press, right? So especially if you're going to go Terra Fighting there. So let me just look at the Terras one more time here. Let me look at the EV spreads. I think we're good here, right? Oh, wait, the Dragonite, we almost forgot about this one. Let's go multi-scale, right? We want to be able to survive. This is Guts, this is Hospitality, Drizzle, Stamina. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so this is variant number 2 from us. Okay, you got the Sinistcha Ursaluna engine. So let's try it out. Let's see how this does. So this one test battle actually shows you everything I want to show you with this type of variant of the team. So it's another Garchomp team with Instant Amoonguss, Backbone, Ninetales, Weather Control, Flamigo, which can hit ghost types, by the way, and of course the Furgraph there for anti-priority stuff. So really simple. I can just lead Gholdengo from the rip and outspeed everything, and that's exactly what I want to do. Even if he leads Incineroar, this is also why I lead Pelipper to cover for that. It's Garchomp, Flamingo. So like I said, raw make it rain damage. Look at the damage. Okay, and then Pelipper's just gonna go for Tailwind, right? So I'm gonna go for Dragon Claw. I'm gonna force him to choose one. You want the Gholdengo, you want the Pelipper, right? So they want the Gholdengo. Okay, that's fine by me because now Pelipper goes for Tailwind, and you know what's gonna click moves under Tailwind? The Ursaluna. Look at this, all right? So he's gonna go into Furgraph there. That's fine. He's gonna go into Ninetales here. That's fine by me. Because, again, I'm clicking Earthquake here. Muddy Water, free chip damage. Thank you very much. Earthquake, also very strong. Look at that. And now my Ursaluna is going to hit even more, and I still have tailwind support. So now, even if the Pelipper misses, it doesn't matter because Earthquake just actually cleans everything up here, right? So goodbye Ninetales, goodbye Farigiraf. So now he's down to a very chipped Garchomp and a very chipped Flamigo here. And I still got Sinistcha in the back here if I ever need it, right? So clicks Protect on the Chomp, doesn't matter. My Pelipper is faster. He could have even clicked Protect Flamigo, but he didn't have it. So that's it. The game is over. So now, you know, just for memes and lulz, this is all you do. You just repivot the Pelipper, go into Sinistcha here, heal up the Ursaluna, and you can click Protect if you want, right? So it's still fine. There's the Earthquake. It's going to do a lot. Even a crit wouldn't save him. And then Life Orb Chip. So now Sinistcha can win the game from here, all right, because he's just forced to keep clicking spread moves there. Oh, maybe that would have killed the Ursaluna. I don't think so. I think I still would have been out of range there. Anyway, Matcha Gotcha would have been fine. Even if he did remove the Ursaluna there. But again, you got to see Ursaluna outspeed everything on their tailwind. You got to see Choice Scarf Gholdengo put out immediate damage, forced them to switch to preserve their options, right? They tried to stall tailwind, it didn't matter. We put out too much damage in the early get-go, and that's what happens when you have immediate offense. Now, another variation of that 6 that you can do is you can actually remove the Gholdengo here and go for a little bit more support with the Incineroar for more damage mitigation here. So if you want to still keep your Fire Ward or Grass Core, still keep Intimidate, Fake Out, and Redirection, then Incineroar can still make sense onto these type of teams. And you can remove the Gholdengo and instead just rely more on the Archaludon and the Ursaluna and the Dragonite for more damage. Whereas Sinistcha and Pelipper can be your support Pokemon here. So this also works too. I have seen this 6, and I'm going to show you a couple games where you can make good work of this. So he also has a Pelipper Archaludon variant. This is also pretty good, right? He's got the Maushold and Annihilape, which is the next type of variant I'm going to show you here. He's got Comfey and also the Ursaluna as well. So I think Sinistcha just makes a little bit more sense. I understand why he's got the Comfey there, but yeah. Anyway, so Maushold and Annihilape could be annoying, and sometimes that's hard to play against, right? Because you just don't know what kind of moveset they're going to have or what they're going to do in a best of 1 there. So you're going to have to just try and make ends meet here. So I'm going to lead Ursaluna Dragonite just to see what he might try there. And there is the Annihilape, there is the Maushold here. So very simply, I'm just going to protect Ursaluna here. I've got multi-scale D9. I should be okay, I think. He goes for Population Bomb, but into his own Annihilape, and it only... It hits 4 times, I guess. That's very strange. I don't know why he did that. But maybe he mistook that for beat up. I don't know why he did that, but there it is. Anyway, Scale Shot into the Maushold here. Again, very easy Scale Shots here. And again, Ursaluna is very, very fast. This is just an easy Headlong Rush into Nine. But again, he clicked Protect. That's still fine. Super Fang, not even Population Bomb. I don't know what this guy's doing. But there's the Follow Me again, and now this is just very easy at this point because now we remove the Redirector, and now the Ursaluna outspeeds the Ape. So here we go. Earthquake, very simple. And there is the Annihilape. There is no more Friend Guard to save you. And now it's easy, right? So we got a couple turns of Tailwind left, actually just one. Comfey comes here with Arc, probably Draining Kiss. This is why I protect D-Knight here, and I just want to remove the Comfey, remove the Healer, and the Arc is going to be useless. So we make good use out of our last turn of Tailwind. Body Press is fine. Again, we've got Sinistcha here to close it out. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into Sinistcha. I'm going to click Protect. Right? Heal. And look at that. Dragon Pulse just goes into the Reside. So this is over, right? Because we just redirect everything and click Headlong Rush. So there's the Rage Powder. There's the Snarl. Very nice tech. But unfortunately, we are physical attackers there. So Headlong Rush is just able to pick up the Arc there. So again, more Sinistcha Ursaluna ideas. It's just really, really good under Tailwind support. Yet another Archaludon Pelipper variant. This one is a little bit more aggressive because he's got the Size Spam mode there, and he's got the Maushold and Annihilape. So he's got the 2-2-2 idea, which is fine, right? And I still like what I have here against the mirror. But again, Maushold and Annihilape is annoying. So here we go, Maushold, but this time with Armor. So could be Redirection Trick Room play. That's what I'm thinking here. This is why I click Snarl on Archaludon here. So there's the Endure. This is okay. There's Beat Up, right? But Endure was crazy, right? Because again, he gets to live, obviously, and he's faster that way. There's the Weakness policy. So this was, I didn't expect to see this, but again, you know, best of 1 ladder. Yeah, this is what you're gonna run into. But anyway, Muddy Water, we connect on the Maushold. We obviously connect on the Armor Rouge there. But Snarl support is not going to KO anything here because the Armor's Click can do it, right? So, unfortunately, that's fine. Is it fine? Anyway, Arc comes in. So, Wide Guard, I suspected Expanding Force with the Indeedee coming in. I thought he might do it. He didn't do it, right? He just clicked the single target fighting move. So, we still removed the Armor Rouge, right? We weaken the Arc to -1 special attack. We do give him the body press advantage, but that's still okay, right? Now is the Indeedee, right? So, it's Scarf Indeedee, right? There's the Psychic, and this makes me click Tailwind on Pelipper to try and match. Body press into Arc, not enough, obviously, because he's +1. Probably could have even clicked Snarl again, too. Here's the Electroshot into the Pelipper, right? So it gets me down to Sash. But again, I'm going to go into Sinistcha, trying a little bit more healing. This is where I kind of messed up. I got a little greedy here. I didn't think he would actually click Psychic again, even though he just did that the previous turn. So I did mess that up, right? And that means he gets to click Electroshot. But it's still a risk worth taking because now we have 2 turns of Trick Room. We have, 2 turns of Tailwind. We still have Ursaluna here. And now the Sinistcha can still do okay here. The berry is actually really clutch here, right? Because I get recovery with Machigacha and the berry from both sides. So look how good Sinistcha is, right? We're weakening them. He does get the +2. But again, it's fine. Sinistcha can resist everything here, and we are Calm Nature. So one more turn of Tailwind. Right? So again, Psychic comes out, but I know my Sinistcha is faster, so I know Machigacha is going to go first. We pick up the Arc, which is huge, right? And we do more damage to Indeedee, which means more recovery, which is huge. And then Earthquake, just in case I didn't pick up, it's good damage, right? And now all he's got left is the Maushold, and that is just not enough, right? Because he can only kill one, and whichever one he doesn't kill, the other one will remove there. So even though we did mess up that Terra, that was a misplay by us, we still had more than enough in the end game to finish things off. All right, the last variant of the Arc Rain that I'm going to show you here is, of course, utilizing the Maushold and Annihilape idea. So the Annihilape can be your endgame win con here because, again, you've got the bulk up set up here. You've got, Maushold here. Actually, let's just add Friend Guard here. The Follow Me support with the bulk up is one play. Otherwise, you can always go for beat up into the Annihilape there to boost up your Rage Fist damage. You can also go into the Archaludon, right? And just beat up this and start getting all these stamina boosts here. And then the Sinistcha can also help heal the Annihilape with this type of set here, right? So Machigacha, Life Dew, Rage Powder, and Trick Room here. But very standard set. So I'm just going to max speed this, right? Max HP, and then 1 point into defense here, right? And that's really all I need out of my Maushold. I just want to be super fast, bulky, and not hurt my Annihilape so much, right? That's why I'm not investing like in the attack stat here. Taunt is really strong, by the way, on Maushold here. So Annihilape, again, with the Grass Terra, that'll help you get around Amoonguss. You don't have the goggles anymore. You can definitely go Terra Fire if you want to not get burned. That's also very bad, right? So, but to each their own, pros and cons. Obviously Defiant here. I still like Max Speed Jolly, right? To believe it or not, I still like this. And then 208 is still good for leftovers recovery. And then honestly, after this, you can just put 1 point in the bulk stats and then just dump the rest into your attacking stat. Now, it doesn't look like a strong Annihilape in the get-go, but remember, you're trying to set up these bulk ups, right, from the Annihilape. And a lot of times your opponent doesn't want to touch the 8 because that's just gonna make you do more Rage Fist damage, right? And I still want to go with like Jolly max speed just to be, relatively fast and maybe, outspeed the Mirror potentially. But this is what I'm going for here with the Annihilape, right? Sinistcha, we stay the same. We're just going to keep it at Terra Fairy instead of Dark, so you can always whiff the Scale Shot and redirect that away. Basculegion, you can still go max speed, max attack here. So I changed the EV spread versus the other one, so at least this one I'm giving you more options. Pelipper, I'm still keeping modest, but I did add Helping Hand here, right? And we went back to Hurricane, Weather Ball, Tailwind, of course. And then the arc is still relatively the same. This is still a modest arc, so we went back to the previous kind of Archaludon. But you can go Terra Grass here on this one, whereas the other one is Bug. I feel like both are very, very good. I'm just trying to give you options here. And this is it. This is the Arc Mouse 8 variant that, will be popular, right? And you can use it yourself. You can try it out yourself. And I'm going to show you a couple games with this one. All right, so this is a somewhat of a hyper balanced offense with obviously Tailwind Murkrow. He's got Haze on him. Then there's the Indeedee with the Sneasler. That's probably Psychic Seeds, I would imagine. It could be Grassy Seed, you never know. But obviously Tailwind Hyper Voice is another play that they could do with the Blood Moon as well as the Primarina there. Maybe the Primarina actually has Haze and the Murkrow doesn't. Who knows? Again, it is best of one. Either way, I want to see what he's got. So he's got Primarina there in the lead with Rillaboom, which is very interesting. I'm going to lead straight up Pelipper and the Annihilape here. Interesting combo, right? So I want to just do Tailwind and just straight up go bulk up here, so I can easily resist a lot of what he's got here. So there is the Grassy Glide going into Ape there. Very interesting choice there, giving me more Rage Fist boosting powers. Tailwind comes out. Hyper Voice, again, we resist that. He's giving me harder hitting, Rage Fist is there. So I get Grassy Terrain Recovery and Leftovers, right? So now I can just pivot into Sinistcha here, get a little bit more recovery, right? He goes Protect into the Primarina. Smart play there, right? Because, again, it gets Swift there. I could have even went into the Rillaboom. U-turn, good damage, but again, making me hit harder on the Rage Fist there. There's the Sneasler, but we've got Sinistcha here, right? So all is not lost, right? So there's the Dire Claw. I actually take it. I thought I could take one. I think it was just safer just to redirect and just go for the Sneasler anyway. But I went from Machigachi into the Primarina because I felt like I could do a little bit more with the Sinistcha here, right? But I think I look back and maybe I probably should have just redirected, right? The Annihilape would have been better. He freezes me, so good play by him to get the freeze there. So capitalizing on somewhat of my misplay, but I can just switch out here into Arc here. I can also just, again, force him to click. Like, the Primarina is slow. Like, even if he clicks Tailwind, because I'm max speed, I just beat the Primarina anyway. So I don't know why he went with the Terra Electric there. That was very interesting. So I kind of just win from here, in all honesty, right? Because, he could haze away my Annihilape there, but he's not going to stop the Rage Fist. And Arc here can kind of pretty much 1v2 both of these options, right? Especially after I click Electroshot here, then I can pressure the Rillaboom with, not only just body presses, but also just flash cannons there. This is another interesting team, right? Sneasler, Dragapult there with Tailwind support from Whimsicott. It's got Gyarados there. You usually don't really see a Gyarados in competitive play right now, but it is there. So he's got an interesting Fire Water Grass Core there. I feel like that could have been just Dondozo, but he's going with the Gyarados, trying to get some Intimidate support there. Sneasler, Dragapult there. Could be coaching. Classic lead here. Goes right into Gyarados here. And I notice it's not Intimidated, right? So it's actually just probably Moxie, in all honesty. I wanted to just pivot out here. Goes for coaching there. Very interesting. And then there's my Tailwind, right? So now I've got a pretty decent advantage, right? He goes Terra Ground. Great play by him. Hurricane into the Sneasler. This could be Earthquake. I might live. I don't think he did go Terra Ground there, but he actually just went for Dragon Dance there. So that actually costs him. Because I felt like if he had Earthquake, he probably could have just beat the Arc right then and there. So now I have the chance to go Terra Grass. He goes for Crunch instead. Interesting choice. But Weather Ball just removes the Gyarados. And of course, Flash Cannon just removes the Whimsicott. None of these things were Sash. Looks like the Sash was on the Sneasler. And he has no choice but to forfeit because Dragapult cannot win this 4v1. So that was an interesting call there not to go for the Earthquake on the Gyarados. Maybe he didn't have it. But who knows? Alright, so here's all four paste on the screen one more time. This is the classic Arc Rain with Instant Amoonguss Backbone, Gholdengo Life Orb there, relatively fast Gholdengo. Then you've got the Arc Rain Sinistcha Ursaluna idea, which is still very, very strong. Then this one has the Incineroar instead of the Gholdengo there, and the last one is the Maushold and the Annihilape there. So 4 different Arc Rain variants that you could try here. Any of them can win you a tour. And feel free to experiment as you choose, right? You can switch out some Terras, you can, make some adjustments to the move choices, but that's it. Give one of these a try. Let us know how you do. We'll be back with more regulationH team building in the next one. And don't forget to sign up for coaching on the channel. If you click that tier 3 sub or the tier 4 sub, that gets you a one-on-one session with me where you can, pitch me an idea and then we can build a squad for your competitive needs. If you're going to a regional in the upcoming 2026 season, this is exactly what you're going to want to do. So if you look in the video description below, click the link to join the channel with the tier 3 sub, or in the pinned comment section in the video to click the same link to join with that tier 3 or tier 4 sub. Then we can meet via Discord, and then from there we can plan accordingly. All right, that's it. We'll be back with another one. Peace out and have a good one.